give me one shot here on a blue chip stock team. Believe me, Kevin, the only problem you're gonna have is that you didn't buy more.
Nobody knows if the stock is going to go up, down, sideways, or in circles.
Hey, what's going on, NBA draft fans? Your boys are back. It's the Wolves of Ball Street, your favorite draft analyst. My name is Corey Tulaba. I am here, as always, with my co-host Albert Garbage Time Gim on the Draft Deck NBA Draft Show on the No Ceilings NBA Draft podcast feed. One of the most anticipated shows that we have done during this draft cycle. We have Taylor Hendricks in the building with us today. Taylor, what's going on, man? Thanks for coming and chop it up with us.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you for having me, man. I can't wait to dive into this film sesh.
I want to ask you what this whole process has been like. You just had your combine experience. You got the pre-draft cycle. How are you holding up? And how are you enjoying this whole process?
I'm enjoying it a lot. Just taking it one day at a time, and that whole combine process was pretty cool because I used to watch it on TV and watch guys go through it and different things like that. And for me to go through it is just it was pretty nice.
Taylor, I wanted to say, with everything that's going on this new season in your life, what do you think has been the most challenging aspect? Because I've been thinking you're meeting with different teams. You are at the combine. I'm sure you met with 50 different people. Now you're going to different teams and you're going to their gyms and you're working out all over the place. What do you think's been the most challenging aspect of this pre-draft process so far?
Honestly, I can't really say that there is really a challenging part, because really all it is just working hard, and that's what I've been doing the whole season. So, it's not really anything really new. I guess, meeting with new teams and things like that is different, but, I mean, that's not really, hard because, they're really just trying to figure out who you are. So it's just really conversational.
That says a lot about your mentality, your personality, right? You're just trying to sell yourself. And if you're confident in who you are as a person and as a player, it should be easy, because at the end of the day, these teams are interested in you as much as, you're going to be interested in them, because, we rattled off your numbers. We're going to break down some film. You're obviously a lot of talent. But for the people who, maybe they're unfamiliar with your game. I mean, if they're watching this, the sickos out there have definitely been following you all year. But how would you personally describe your game?
I would say I'm pretty versatile, all around, defensively, offensively, just with me being able to guard different positions and, just my shot blocking ability, offensively, the way I can shoot the ball and, finish around the basket and, how athletic I am and things like that. So I feel the way I play, you could put me in, different positions, anywhere on the floor, maybe the dunker to catch lobs or, spot up in the corner or set screens, just different things. I feel my game is versatile.
And we're going to dive into your film. And, I want to start with a clip that I think does a really good job of showcasing that, because it's a clip that goes from defense to offense. And I think, you touched on it. That is, something that's a really important aspect of your game. You come over, you get a really good shot contest on a talented player in Riley Kugel. And then you come down on the floor, find space, and you got that high, quick, arcing release. So, speaking to the versatility, your jump shot, your defense, has that always been a part of your game, or have you had to, was one part further ahead than the other growing up, and now they've just kind of, you found this sweet spot where you're so well-rounded?
I feel I feel I've always played similar my whole life, because I really feel defense, a lot of it comes from just effort at the end of the day. If you go up and block a shot, that's something that you have to want to do. And I feel a lot of players could do that, but it's just that motor or that, that want to do that is, different. And what kind of sets me apart is that's something I want to do. And, I feel I just been like that my whole life. And with shooting the ball, I've always shot the ball because I have a twin brother, Tyler. He's at UCF, but he we were playing in the backyard all the time, and he was really a guard. So watching him shoot the ball, handle the ball, it's some that kind of like influenced me to, do that. So, I just always done that since a young age.
Yeah, I mean, just from watching your tape, clearly there's been, I think overall the sense that I'm getting from you, Taylor, is that, like you said, none of this is hard. This is stuff that you've been doing your whole life. All of this is coming pretty naturally to you. And speaking to the versatility that Corey mentioned before, there's so many different things that you can do on the floor, which I think NBA teams, when they turn your film on, they'd be like, damn, like, offensively, he can do all kinds of things. Like you said, can play all over the floor. Defensively, guarding all over the floor. So, Taylor, for you, obviously, you're going to keep working. You said you want it, right? What are certain things that and skills or just whatever? What are you working on right now during the pre-draft process that maybe NBA teams don't know about?
Definitely my strength right now. Just trying to gain a little bit more weight, get stronger, and I've been like emphasizing like a lot on my ball skills, like shot creation, getting to my spots, and just strengthening up my handle, and then my 3-point shot as well. Those are like the main things that I'm working on currently.
Yeah, and I think, I mean, already you shot 40% from 3 this season, right? Like, we know that I think on day 1 you're going to be able to come in and space the floor from all over. You said you could be a corner spacer. I think the fact that you can come in with a day 1 skill on that side of the ball, and one where you said you're working on your ball skills, but this is a skill that you have that is something that you could play off of. If you go to a Detroit, you could play off of Cade Cunningham. If you go to a Houston, you could play off of a Jabari, of Jalen Green and those guys. How important has it been, through your career that you've been able to just kind of fit into, I feel like, any kind of roster context and contribute, where there are a lot of guys, they need the ball in their hands, right? Like, how much has it benefited you, the fact that you don't need the ball in your hands all the time?
I feel like that's benefited me a lot because, when there's a player like that, you can fit on so many different types of rosters and, can be in so many different lines. You really can't go wrong putting that player on the floor. And I feel like I'm like that type of player.
Yeah, 100%. And it's not even that you could shoot it. A lot of guys could shoot it, but it's at your height. You have this high release and you have this quick release here. So on this clip here, you've got the ball on, or you're going to get the ball on the right wing. Drew Pember, big dude, closes out, hand right in your face. You feel unbothered. Is that just work, reps? Like, have you always felt comfortable shooting with a hand in your face?
Yeah, definitely. I kind of feel like I shoot it a little bit better when there's a hand in my face, but that game was like the first game of the season. Like I was hyped. Like that was probably one of my most hyped games. I think it was just because I was so nervous in the beginning, and like it kind of carried over to the game, and it kind of pumped me up a little bit. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean the classic J.R. Smith, you just shoot it better with a hand in your face. But Taylor, I wanted to ask, right now, you said you're working on your ball skills, you're working on adding strength, you're working on a lot of different things right now. I think one of the, maybe not necessarily a narrative, but one of the questions that's been going out there a lot about your game is wondering, are you more of a 3? Are you more of a 4? But the interesting thing for us is, like, as we watched your game last season, we felt like there are a lot of different outcomes for how you might, what type of position you might play on the next level. Do you have like a goal in terms of like, oh, I want to be more of a 3 or more of a 4? Or do you just want to improve at everything and just be able to do both?
I mean, I want to improve at everything and be able to do both, but I feel like right now I'm like a 4. I would say I am right now. And like I feel like small ball 5 and things like that. But right now I'll say I'm a 4. But I feel like I could play the 3 as well. But
yeah, I agree. I think 4 is your natural position. It gives you like a positional size and an advantage on both sides. We'll get into your defense later. And you could tell, like, I think on that side of the ball, you could guard, a ton of positions, you're switchable, all that. And you were talking about putting on strength. I think, when you talk about potentially being a small ball 5, right? Like that added strength. Because, look, you played a lot of good bigs in college, but you got the Jokic's and the Embiids at the next level. You're going to need a little bit of extra strength to play the 5. But You do have, I think, as the year went on, we saw you kind of expand the creativity in how you got your looks, right? Like here, this made the rounds. A little ankle breaker. You got somebody on skates there, right? But the one thing I want to ask you, because it's something that I feel like the last guy I saw it do it like this was Evan Mobley. You have, like, for a righty, you use that right foot as your pivot a lot. And you jab with your left a lot, and it's unorthodox. It's kind of like a goofy stance, like for a skateboarder. Do you think that throws defenders off a lot, because it's not how you traditionally guard a right-handed shooter?
Yeah, I feel like it kind of does, but like in the game, I'm not really thinking about like which foot I'm pivoting off of. Like right here on this play, like I caught it and I seen like that whole like left side of the floor was kind of open. So I kind of wanted to fake that way, and because I feel like he was kind of like baiting me to go use my weekend. So I wanted to fake that way and go back right. And that's why I do that 2 dribbles to stop, because he had fell. So I'm like my 3-point shot, that's why I knew.
Yeah, for sure. I think that we also saw you do that from the mid range as well. I think it's an area of your game that I think is you could really utilize. I know a lot of people like to say that the mid range game is dead, but I think it's just dead for people who aren't good at it. I think the game's evolved. Again, that like left foot stance, but you get to your spot. It's nothing crazy here, right? You're just creating space out of your 3-point stance. You take a couple of dribbles, but you have that high release, you have that smooth shot, and you're just able to rise up and get to a point where it's really hard to contest. So, do you work on shots at different areas of the floor like this?
Yeah, definitely, because you never know what position you're going to be like in the game. So you just try to like master like almost every spot that they usually catch the ball at. So on this play, like we've been working on that through practice, where I'm coming off a screen from the 5 and getting it at the corner, and taking the driver, shooting it, and I drove on this session. But I just been working on trying to get to my spot and just shoot a shot that I feel feels comfortable for me.
Obviously, that you attacking the rim, flashing the athleticism, the ball skills, all that stuff. I will say, if you were to critique yourself a little bit in terms of when you were attacking the rim and stuff like that, did you feel like there are certain things that you wanted to clean up in terms of your finishing?
I feel like there was some games in college, like I feel like I could have did a lot better finishing at the rim, and but I would also like to develop my floater game a little bit, play out in a lot of situations as well. But yeah, I would just say, my floater, and just finishing better through contact, and that'll come with strength and things like that.
I want to stick kind of with the mid-range game for a little bit, because I just think it's a really interesting part of your game, given your skill set. And it's one of the things that I love about your game is that there's no like extra to it. You could just get the ball at the elbow, and because of your measurables, you could just turn and face. And when we talk about attacking the rim, like this kind of stuff really opens that up, because now they have to guard you in these spots, right? And you could stretch that out, obviously, to the 3-point line. So, for as much as you might work on expanding the creation and stuff, how did you kind of develop the maturity in your game to kind of keep things so simple?
I guess, just trying to win the game, because, my game has never been like really flashy like that. Just really get the job done. And, in basketball, it's really, that's like the main thing you need just to get the job done. Like all the flashy stuff, it looks good on highlights, but at the end of the day, like, are you winning the game, and are you, winning your matchup? And I feel like that's something like I've always gone by. I was never really like a flashy player like that. Maybe with my dunks, but
yeah, that's you could put a little extra something on those. But let's get into a little bit of the flash. This is, showing a little bit of that potential to now attack the rim. It's on somebody who is, was in your conference, another, top player in this draft. And you went right at him. Right. So take me through this possession and, kind of what was going through your mind as you attacked the rim and dunked one home.
So pretty much it was that play again where the 5 had came and, set that screen in the middle where I could come out and get it. And like, it's crazy because I was working on that right to left crossover like in practice like the past couple of days, and I wanted to try it in the game. And so when I caught it out there, like he was kind of like on me a little bit. So like first I was thinking of shooting it, but he was like, pretty close to me. That's why I took those 2 dribbles, like just to, set up. And then I just did the left or right, and I just found a little bit of space and took it to the rim.
Yeah, he's all up in your shirt there, right? And he's 7'2" wingspan. So if you shoot that, he's going to get a good contest. But you took it into the hoop, and the help doesn't come. And you went and you attacked hard. I think these are the kinds of possessions that you see. And, we talked about, your game's simple. And, that's something that we love about it. But there's more to it and in flashes. And I love that you said you were working on this in practice and you wanted to execute it in a game, right? Because a lot of times it's easy to do something in practice where maybe there's not like a real consequence, but you're taking this at another potential top 5 pick. So, I love this possession. I think, for people who are a fan of your game, this is one of, the highlights that you've had the best highlights that you've had this year. What was it like playing against Jairus?
I always heard like the hype of, Taylor versus Jairus. And, I mean, he's a phenomenal player, like, his strength and the way he's able to defend and score the ball. Like, so, going in that matchup, it's like, we already know we're going to end up battling. So, playing against him, it was fun. I would say it was pretty fun.
What do you think people missed about your game that like you weren't on like a ton of like mock drafts coming into the year? I mean, I think people caught on quick because you came out of the gates really impressively. But what do you think people missed? Because tall, fluid, defends both sides of the ball or multiple positions, plays both sides of the ball, could shoot. What did people miss about you coming into the year?
I would say like, I guess just the way I play, it's like kind of quiet.
Yeah.
So like when I get 20, it's not like, yo, he really killed me with 20. It's like a quiet 20, like, yo, he had 20. Like, it's kind of like that. So I guess like the way I play is, I guess kind of quiet. So,
yeah.
But it gets the job done at the end of the day.
Take me through this clip. One of the things I noticed watching, and it's maybe not this, even just this clip specifically, right? You're when there's like a break, you are always the first one down the floor. You run to the rim hard. And, I think for a guy like you who can also, run to the corner, run to the wing, a lot of times guys fall in love with that. But you're always beating guys down the floor and you get really easy, opportune baskets a lot of the time. How hard is it to play with that kind of energy every time you get down the floor? How do you keep that mentality up all the time to just, I want to always constantly be the first guy down the floor?
First, I wouldn't really say it's hard. It's like, it's another thing that you want to do. Like, if you want to do it, then it's kind of easy for you. But, when I sprint down the court, like I'm just trying to get it done because I don't leak out or anything. I'm trying to get the rebound, so I don't really get many wide open dunk opportunities. So like these transition like possessions are like, me trying to like get a dunk in or something.
So Taylor, I think, for Corey and I think that what we're trying to figure out is like clearly just from this interview, you care so much about winning. You're kind of like no nonsense, like you said, right? Even if I put up 20, it's kind of a quiet 20. I guess like where does that mentality come from? Because like like I did an interview with Jalen Williams like a year ago, right before he got drafted by the Thunder, and he was saying like, yeah, my military parents, they just told me, man, just work hard, do your thing, and that's kind of how he was, right? Where does that come from for you? Was it like your upbringing? Was it maybe a coach when you were a kid, or is that just kind of like how you're built and you just like only care about winning?
I feel like it's kind of like how I was brought up. Like, my mom always told me to be humble. So like, if I'm getting a bucket, I'm not gonna always like bark at you, talk trash. So like, I'm just gonna put the work in and just continue to try to win the game, like I keep saying. So.
It's a great mentality to have,
Great
man.
mentality.
And you talk about, you just want to. It's hard for you to get a lot of easy dunks. So just because you're always like operating more out of the perimeter. I was really impressed by your timing and on cuts. And I think that's really valuable skill playing off of. You might be playing off of Luka Doncic next year. A guy like that who has the ball in his hands so much. And I think when you're a guy who could space the floor in the corner like that, to be able to also kind of be a threat to cut behind the defense and get easy buckets. Mikal Bridges was a guy who did that all the time in Phoenix, right? Like, it's just such a valuable skill. Have you always, found that that it was a part of your game that you wanted to leverage based off, your outside game?
I feel like that really like developed in college because my coach like always like emphasized how cutting could get you like so much easier baskets like during the game, and then my twin brother like cuts very well, so like me just trying to like implement that into my game too, because he gets like a lot of easy buckets cutting to the basket, so just me trying to implement that and trying to help my team like just with easy plays like that, like really help me add that to my game.
Obviously, when you're in college, you just focused on college. But now that you're in the pre-draft process, what are certain things that you're expecting to do and expecting to implement to really find more time on the floor?
I would say effort's like a big thing because if you have like a lot of effort, like you can outplay somebody that's more talented than you, like just by giving more effort. And I feel like any player that has good effort could stay on the floor. So that's just one of the things that I feel like I could bring to the NBA and help me have my spot.
Let's talk about your post game a little bit. I think it's something really underrated. They same kind of set here to get you open with that screen, and you just have really good touch. And again, like all of your shots you release so high. How did you feel about operating out of the post? I know you said you want to work on your strength, but I think you have so much finesse there too. So how did you feel about operating out of the post this season?
I felt pretty comfortable doing it, like just reading my matchup and whoever was guarding me at the time. Like right here in this clip, I had a shorter matchup, so I didn't pop all the way to the three that time. I like kind of stayed in the post and caught it there, and went to work pretty quickly. But overall, my post game, I'm pretty confident in it.
Really wanted to say, I think, as you mentioned, you're really smart about the matchups that you took. And something that I wrote down in my notes when we did your initial film dive was, I like that you could shoot over either shoulder. I saw a lot of times you catch it on the left block. And if you had a bigger guy, you wanted to kind of mix things up and turn over right shoulder, get that shot on the baseline, that type of stuff. Is that a shot you worked on, or is that just like, hey, like I'm just like that?
I would say, yeah, that's definitely something I work on because my position coach is I go with both position coaches for the guards and the bigs, and with my bigs position coach, like we do a lot of hook shots over both shoulders just to trying to create touch and just putting it in the game and putting it to use.
Yeah. And I mean, you show it here with the little right shoulder, and this is kind of like a little fade away from the in-between area. I was at this game. One of the things that stood out to me when I was there, and it's something that I look for when I'm scouting NBA guys, is like, how easy does it look? And like, I'm not saying that it is easy, but for certain guys, like, it looks easy. For you, I just thought every shot that you got into, seeing it up close, looked easy. Another guy that I saw this year, Terquavion Smith, when I went to see him, it was just like, all right, like when he misses, it's because he missed, not necessarily because somebody made him miss, right? Do you feel like you're getting to your spots with ease? Because a lot of times, even when somebody gets a good contest, I feel like when you're confident at getting to your spots, it's a little bit easier than it might look on film.
Yeah, I feel like I get to my spots pretty easily because, like, I feel like I just have so many spots on the floor. It's like, it's kind of like not really hard to get to the spot, like wherever you catch the ball. Like right here when I caught it, like, I was thinking of doing a fade. So, I kind of like surveyed the floor a little bit and see where I could like, kind of get an opening so I can get the shot off. Cause, usually when I shoot the ball, I'm not like really worried about, getting my shot blocked. It's probably because of my high release, but I'm really just worried about like trying to get to a spot where that really feels comfortable, and that's where I felt comfortable at that time.
Yeah, and I think one of the reasons I wanted to highlight the kind of like the post play is because it'll bring us into some of like your passing skills, which I think is something that is a little bit underrated. The guys like us, we talk about it a lot, but I think the people who are going to go watch like the YouTube highlights, like your passing highlight tape is probably not going to be the first thing that shows up on the clips. But I think that it's something that in an area of your game that we really saw grow throughout the season. I think because of your height, that probably helps. This is a sick look. Look, not an assist, right? The shot's got to go in. When you're in the post, what are the things that you're reading, and do you have like an awareness of where like your shooters are on the floor?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, when I'm in the post, like first I'm like looking for the double team, because usually they start sending one, and I'm waiting for like one of my men to cut to the basket. But if nobody cuts, then I know that if I'm doubled, then somebody's open. Like, and it's usually on the weak side.
Mm-hmm.
So I looked over there, he was wide open. Like I thought, and I swung it over there.
Yeah, that's a tough pass. Like,
great pass,
good location. Yeah. Really, really impressive. This is another one. What I like about this one is you take that retreat dribble, right? You said you got the weak side shooter there. Did you feel the help coming? Is that why you took that retreat dribble there?
Yeah, I knew, like, because I had Kendrick Davis on, like they were going to send the double, and they usually do send the double on post up. So I was like already kind of anticipating it. Mm-hmm. So, I was, as you can see, like I didn't really try to go to work like right away, because, I didn't want to get, trapped. So, I kind of anticipated it, and, I see my man wide open.
Yeah, and I just want to say this is such an important pass, because on the next level, Taylor, like if you end up running, I don't know what team you're going to end up on, right? Obviously, but they're probably going to run a lot of screen and roll, and you might catch something in the short roll, and might have to make some decisions with the ball in your hands. How comfortable do you feel right now with doing that type of stuff, right? Catching in the short roll, and then making decisions and making passes.
I feel very comfortable, because like even throughout high school, like I would be in a lot of those situations where I'll catch it off the roll and have to make a decision, or catch it at the high post and have to make a decision. So just being in that position like throughout like high school, even like kind of helped me out.
Yeah, and I think your shooting ability it's going to be so beneficial to you to becoming a short roll player, right? Because teams are going to scout you probably as a pick and pop guy, right? So if you could mix that up, slip the screen, get into that area. We've already seen the touch, in the mid range as a shooter. So they're going to have to come out. The big's going to have to come out, and then you can make plays like that. I think that's going to be a huge asset for you. And I think here, this isn't a short roll pass by any means, but I think it's great timing, great recognition. Sometimes when people hit cutters, they're passing to where they are, not where they're going to be. And you do a good job of passing, to the spot as he gets there. So I think that's an area of your game that, with extra space on the floor, I think we're really going to see next year. So but I want to transition to your defense, because one of the the biggest appeals for you is that not only are you an offensive player, but you play both sides of the ball. And we'll get to the shot blocking, but you're also going to be somebody who I think is guarding a bunch of different players. Right here, we got Landers Nolly, great shooter, and this just seems like a scouting report thing. Mm-hmm. It seems really high Q, because you're already contesting the shot before he's got the shot up. So, how much like is this like a film thing? Is this a walkthrough thing? Because it's a high IQ play here.
I mean, yeah, we definitely went through the film, and like we know how good of a shooter he is. So, my plan was kind of like to kind of like bait him to take the shot, because I feel like my length was enough to like kind of bother him, and it was. So, yeah, I kind of like baited him into taking that shot.
Mm-hmm. Taylor, if I can, and because I think this play highlights it as well. And when we did your film deep dive, something that we talked about was for a guy your size, you move so well, so fluidly. You've got great feet. Obviously, you'll hear different stories like Hakeem Olajuwon, right? Famously, he had such great feet because he played soccer growing up, whatever. Where does your footwork come from? Your mobility, is that just you're, hey man, I'm born athletic, or is it from playing different sports, or where does all that come from for you?
I would say it's from me playing different sports. Like my mom put me and my brother in like a bunch of different things, like tennis,
Oh,
football.
that's
You
a
know,
good
we
one.
were in ballet too, so that probably helped a little bit as well. But like literally anything like you can name, I was probably in it. So I feel like that probably kind of helped.
This possession here, I thought was another excellent defensive possession against Cincinnati. You start out, you're off ball, you're kind of in position to be able to, tag the roll if the pass is thrown over. And then now you're in the perimeter, sending them to the sideline. You beat him to the spot, and you ultimately force him
Crazy.
low shot clock into a really, really tough look. What was your team's kind of defensive philosophy? Were you trying to send guys sideline a lot? Was it like a no mid? What was and also just great job here. And if you could expand on what you're trying to do here.
Yeah, so our team philosophy was really don't let the player get middle because, when they go middle, like our defense would kind of collapse. So, and on this player right here, we watched film on him and he would shoot it a lot in guys' faces. That's why, there was a little bit more sense of urgency when I was guarding him because I know he'll just shoot the ball even if I'm right there. So, I kind of got into him a little bit just so he would, wouldn't really take that shot. And I just moved my feet when he was trying to post me up and just me trying to stay close to him the whole time. Because I would have much rather him drive on me than, take a contested shot because he usually makes those. So.
And I think you do such a good job too. Your steal and block numbers were really great. And a lot of times when that happens, guys they gamble, right? They get themselves out of position. I think you did such a good job of playing with your chest and just staying solid, and then not hunting for those steal and block numbers, but forcing these guys into these really tough shots, and then just trying to get the rebound right and win the possession that way. I want to transition kind of into your versatility as a pick and roll defender, and I want to go back to your high school tape to show you've been doing this for a while here. You remember this play?
No, I don't even remember this.
Well, let's remind you because you get the switch onto the guard, and we see a little bit of the Taylor Hendricks experience here too. ISO'd on an island, top of the key, tries to break you down. Give me that shit.
I was put in a lot of situations, and I'm very thankful for the coaches that I've had because they've put me in situations where I have to switch on a lot of pick and rolls, and just me getting used to guarding. If they beat me, it's that want again. If you want to block the shot, you just got to have the effort to do it. And I feel because of that, I'm pretty good recovery wise, and so I was able to get that. So.
Yeah. And for me, this is not even a question, but Taylor, I just want to say, you've talked about it this whole pod, but in this clip and the clip that Corey played before as well, you could see the competitive spirit that you have. You really don't want to lose. You want to contest everything. The timing on your blocks are phenomenal as well. So I know Corey has a follow-up, but I just wanted to say you could see it here. You want it. This is a tough matchup, right? For you as a big against a small like this, to stay in front of him is hard as it is, but to go and to recover and block that shot, like you said, if you don't want it, you can't go and get that block, and clearly you want it. So I just want to say what you've been saying and what we're seeing on tape match up. So I hope NBA front office noticed that as well.
For sure. Another one here, showing your switchability. This is at the college level against Jamal Shed, one of the best guards in the country. And when you get this switch here, are you cognizant low shot clock? A guy that you kind of want to force into a tough outside shot, and you have the advantage with your length. Is this similar to the Landers Nolly situation?
Yeah, but Jamal Shed he's fast, so I already know he's gonna like try and blow past me. So, but like when I get switches like this, like I kind of like take pride in it. Like, it's like when I get switches, like in my head, I'm like, all right, let's go. Like, so like I don't know, like when I'm just in these positions, like it just gets me a little bit more hype, and I was just trying to stay in front of him because I know he's gonna try to like blow past me because like he's one of the fastest dudes we played against. So.
Let's get into this next clip, and again showing your versatility. Albert talked about your timing, like high pointing blocks. This is more of like a drop, which I think that you could play at the next level. A lot of teams play. When you're in these situations where you are more in a drop scheme, how are you guarding the cat and mouse game that the guard is going to be playing?
Really, I'm just trying to like bait the guard to like take a layup because I know like if I'm right there, like it's gonna be a tough shot for him to make. Like if he even gets to like up. So this dude, he was like killing us like the whole game with it like going to his right. So I wanted to bait him to see like if he could get the shot over me, and I was able to get a hand on it.
This is the classic, like if you're playing Madden and you're playing as a safety, you're trying to bait them into throwing the curl so you could pick it off. No, it's fantastic, Taylor. It's you know what I'm talking about. This is fantastic stuff. And dude, this looks like a volleyball block. Did you ever play volleyball at all? Backup question.
No,
no,
okay. I didn't.
Well, maybe you should have because some real volleyball blocks.
This possession I really like because it shows that ability for you to serve as that help weak side defender, and even the little stuff you tag the guy cutting through the middle, you're talking, you're pointing stuff out to your teammates, you're being vocal, you're quarterbacking the defense here. Have you always been talkative as a defender out on the floor?
I would say like it really I was a little bit of a talker like throughout high school, but Coach Dawkins like really emphasized like how important talking was, and because he was like a defensive minded coach, so like talking came with it. So I feel like that's something like that really, blossomed throughout my freshman year of college.
Yeah. And Taylor, this is something that Corey and I, when we did your pod, we were like, dude, he was incredible. Like, you were incredible as a help side defender. Like that's something that we actually, from what I remember, we spent a good amount of time talking about it. Obviously in the NBA, you're going to need that as well, and I'm just wondering, how do you feel like, what adjustments do you think you're going to have to make? Obviously, because like here in that play that Corey highlighted, like the focus is there, the communication is there, all that stuff. What are some big adjustments that you're hoping to kind of prepare for and you're working on right now?
I would say, just definitely the spacing because, in the NBA, the spacing is going to be a lot bigger. So as much time to that spot. So a little bit faster, I'm going to have to adjust in that way. And, just depending on how much space I leave the man I'm guarding, just to be in that help position. So.
Well, your instincts are great on that end, and I think you have more ground to coverage in the NBA. I think the tennis skills, the footwork from the tennis skills, I think that's something that'll help in those scenarios a lot. In this play here, first of all, great timing. You send that shot back, but what I love is the second shot that doesn't happen right there. So after the first block and you send it back out, the ball handler who's driving decides, you know what? I don't want to end up like that either. And I think as valuable as it is that, you could be a shot blocker, to be a rim intimidator is just as valuable protecting shots. He wants no part of you coming over and potentially, suffering the same fate there. So, that is something that I think is an underrated part of like being a rim protector. And we see it here in the NIT tournament. Now, next possession, Brandon Pajensky, guy who's got a lot of buzz coming out of the combine, and shows again like your ability to guard in multiple schemes. This time you come out, you meet him at the level, you do a really good job recovering back to your man, and then you kind of you do a really good job timing it. What was it like playing against a smart, heady guard like that?
I mean, he was a great player. Like, just his IQ overall and his feel for the game was like on another level. And, the way he's able to fill up the stat sheet with steals and points and rebounds. And like, he's one of the best rebounding guards. I don't know how many rebounds he ended up averaging in college, but
it was a lot.
He's like 8.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like, just his whole feel for the game and like, just the way he plays, he was a great player. So
Yeah, and again, do you like switching up your coverages? We've seen you in a switch, we've seen you in a drop, we've seen you now like hard hedging and recovering. Is that something that as a defender and usually the last line of defense you like take pride in, you enjoy doing?
yeah, definitely. I mean, like when I could, switch a screen, that's like my first thing. Like I love to switch screens. Like, like I said, just because I like to take pride in, guarding a corker guard or a different position. But, even when I'm like off the ball, like I like to like stay down and, if my man's going up, I'll tell my man on the same side to like just stay up. So, just in case somebody drives, I could be there. Yeah.
For sure. And the last thing defensively I want to touch on, you mentioned, how you're working on your strength and getting stronger. You're fighting, you're pushing, and you force them into a tough miss. And so I think that post defense is something in an area of your game that, as you continue to get stronger, I think that versatility of being able to switch out on the perimeter and guard guards, being able to guard wings, and then being able to kind of bang in the post and guard guys there. At the college level, you really were a 1 through 5 defender. And that, that's a special defensive kind of prospect. Now, this is something I like to ask prospects. Is there anybody at the next level that you're looking forward to guarding?
I would say definitely switching on to Kyrie Irving. Just to see if I could, just see if like I could give him a little bit of problems with his crazy handle. So, no, I'm kind of looking forward to
that. What was your experience like this season at UCF? Feels like a good time to mention. I did go to school there for a short while, right. So beautiful campus. Beautiful area. What was your whole college experience like, and what's the thing that you're going to miss most about it?
I'll say my whole college experience was everything I imagined it to be. Like I had a lot of fun, like, and I was fortunate to play under a good coach, so he kind of made it he made it fun and enjoyable for me. And I'll say the things I'll miss the most is definitely my team, like just everybody. Like I got along with everybody, and it was like just the whole family, and coaches included. So that's definitely what I'll miss the most.
I mean, that's awesome, man. Corey and I wish we could go back and be your age. We're older now. But Taylor, I wanted to ask, this is a question that I like to ask players because it's a weird one. And I've always been like a big gear guy, like growing up. Like I love to buy jerseys and I love to buy a lot of stuff. You're now going to go and work out for NBA teams left and right. You're going to fly all over the country. They're going to throw a Spurs shirt on you, a Mavs shirt on you, whatever. And you're going to have all this team gear. I asked Jalen Williams last year. I was like, dude, you probably have like 3 bags worth of NBA gear now. What are you going to do? And he was like, gave some to my family, gave some to my friends. I might frame some of it. Wanted to ask you, what are you going to do with all this free NBA gear you're getting now?
I'll probably just give it to some of my friends, give it to my brother. So you can flex that a little bit.
I hope your friends are tall. I always think that the workout pictures and the team gear is interesting. I was actually watching or looking at the other day, like the picture of Kobe and the Celtics gear. I always think that that's going to be something, even if you don't keep the gear, I think it's something when, you're 10 years into your career, or you're retired, you could look back on and be like, wow, like what a crazy experience, like started there and, made it here. So very cool. Now we're getting towards the end here. And usually the way that we end our shows when we're just doing it with Albert and I is, we do a segment called Sell Me This Pen, where we do a quick little like 30-second elevator pitch on a prospect if we were selling the prospect to an NBA team. So we have you on the show, thankfully. So like we do on all of our film breakdowns of prospects, we're going to let you handle the Sell Me This Pen segment. So if you were selling Taylor Hendricks to an NBA team, how would you sell yourself?
I would say, Taylor Hendricks is a pretty cool guy off the court. So, you should definitely draft him. And, on the court, he's just going to give it all he has and, do whatever it takes to win it, to win. and whatever role you put him in, he's gonna do well in that role, whether that's on the ball, off the ball, just different situations, different lineups, because he could play with a whole bunch of different types of players. So, everybody wants a player like that on their team that's going to hustle and, be able to fit in different types of lineups. So, Barney.
Pretty.
That's right. And I'm telling you right now, a team is going to buy you. And I think probably earlier than a lot of people expect. Maybe not in the draft world, because, I think you have one of the highest approval ratings in all of the online scouting community. But I think on draft night, and Albert and I have been in the house in person before, people look at these mocks a lot of times and they're like, oh, this guy's supposed to go here. I think you have, you have the potential to go a little bit earlier than some of these guys who were, maybe hyped up a little bit earlier in the preseason. And we're really looking forward to that. Congrats on an amazing freshman season. Congrats on, and good luck through the rest of your journey. And thank you for coming here, chopping it up, and, being so, honest and open and breaking down the film with us.
Thank you for having me. It was a great experience for sure.
All right. Is there, a place that people can find you online, Instagram, Twitter, anything like that?
My Instagram is Taylor X Hendricks. So, it's pretty simple. So, and then my Twitter is Tay X Hendricks. So,
All right. Follow Taylor Hendricks so you can follow along his NBA journey. We're excited to watch it ourselves. Thank you for listening to the show. If you are listening to this podcast on the No Ceilings NBA podcast feed, thank you for watching this film breakdown. If you're watching on the YouTube channel, make sure that you are locked in to NoCeilingsNBA.com. Subscribe. It's completely free. We deliver content Monday through Friday right to your email. So that's where all the good stuff is happening. And until next time, we're out. Peace.